Yo, Dad, strap in for one of the most impactful conversations you're ever going to hear. Grab a pen and a pad because you're about to take some actions away that are going to reduce your stress and increase your presence and the sharpness for yourself, which is everything that we're about in this community. Nate Cook is a male coach, he's a fitness coach, he's got years and years of experience in this field. And what he's going to discuss today is the 4 pillars that he uses to help men reduce stress, create schedules and organisation in their own lives so they can be less stressful, more present for the families, and optimal for themselves. All right, get that pen and a pad, jump in, you're going to love this.
Family, fitness, freedom, and finances, right? Why do men, specifically dads, need to remain present in those 4 areas?
Well, I think the first thing to address is to actually have an understanding of some form of pillars in your own world as it stands. Because, like you've said there, I was stressed with this, stressed with this, stressed with this, stressed with this. Now, that insinuates that we are reactive to life and that we're stuck in it rather than zoomed out looking at it, you know? And so we can't see the wood for the trees. Now, the 4 pillars to me was a way out. It's a way to understand that as a father of 4, as a business owner, as a man who wanted to be in good health and wanted to achieve this almost utopian dream that is success across the board of family, health, and wealth, I needed to do things differently. A reactive lifestyle was never going to take me to that destination. I would never get there by being dragged along by life itself. There had to be a steadiness in how I existed and how I did things. And that's what created the 4 pillars and the 4 Fs. Now it's 4 Fs because again, just knowing the 35,000 decisions that you've got to think about on a daily basis, I need simple. I need something that I can automatically default to when the chaos of life and the stress comes in. So it was like, well, where am I at this stage in a day? Where am I at this stage in a week? And I can always identify I'm in family mode, fatherhood mode, I'm in finance mode, I'm in fitness mode, and I'm in freedom mode. Now, that awareness in itself gave me meaning and reasoning behind each area of life that us dads have to deal with. You know, there's times when we've got to pay the bills and there's times when we've got to deliver presents to the kids. But what you see, and I see you talk about this a lot in your content, is little habits like pulling out your phone when you're in the play gym. That's a complete loss of structure. It's reactive. It's distraction. You're being led. You're not leading, you're being led. And so your brain is in a constant cycle of not knowing where the meaning and purpose in your very existence is right now in this present moment. And if you think about it, how many fathers, how many dads actually ask themselves the question of what facets and what arenas of life are actually important to me and what are they defined by? What are they? How many fathers know, how many dads know that there's 3 main pillars of family, health and wealth, or relationships, health and wealth? Just to be able to understand that, okay, there's those arenas. And then for me to apply it and go, well, my way of putting it together is family, finances, freedom, and fitness, because those things matter to me. And so the 4 pillars and the 4 Fs came on me simplifying what is an extremely chaotic and busy life. Then I can compartmentalize off that. I can also build a diary off that. I can make a schedule off that that's aligned with my other half. I can know where I am and what I'm doing at any given moment. And that all that's required of me outside of that is to understand what the data then says on the back end of me going, right, I'm in business mode, I'm in finances mode at these hours. So that means for me setting up my phone in a way that I'm not distracted. The only person that can get through to me is Sophie in an emergency, and so I can do deep work, focused work that can generate me more money. When I'm at home in the household, you can't get through to me if I'm with my kids. Why? Because it's of mass value to me that they understand that they are the priority in those windows of time. Not when I'm in finance mode, you know? And it's being able to structure and give that and then have that presence. Now that presence is for me as fatherhood in particular selfish because the there was a big study done on dying men about the 3 biggest regrets. And one of the obvious ones being, and this was over thousands and thousands of men that were on the deathbed, so these men can reflect and have introspection that us as young men still climbing the ladder and still doing things can't feel. You know, we don't understand. We can think about it and visualize it, but the biggest regrets is time with family. Didn't do it. And now it's done. It's finished, gone, forever. No more. No comeback. No turning the clock round. No second chances. You may be in the belief that the second chance is with God, heaven, and that's okay. But is that the second chance of this very existence? And so, even in a state of faith, you can be curious to the idea, well, I'm not going to waste this life still. I'm not gonna take this for granted still. And so you're giving everything, but you're giving everything effortlessly. And then the fitness pillar leaks into you being able to work harder and make more money because your body is the vehicle and your energy is your productivity and performance in work, at home. Is the difference between the dad that's sat on the couch eating snacks, telling himself that he's tired and stressed all the time without realizing that biologically he is wrecked and he is fucked because he's not got that habits that would make him feel any different. So he can't give to his kids and he can't give to work. And so fitness requires minimal. Requires minimal. You can train 3 times a week for 30 minutes. You can't give that stillness and that health to yourself. There's some introspection needed for yourself to understand why that's occurring and going, is this how I really choose to be in this life as a man? And freedom. What's the one thing, Mr. Birch, that all men don't do enough of, particularly with drive and ambition? Fun, freedom, rest, time to actually be of no meaning and no purpose, beyond recuperation, beyond abundance, beyond just being and existing. Because we've got 1,001 things to do all the time. We've got a lot of noisy shit going on in our world. And you will get to the end and you will realize you worried too much about stuff that wasn't important. You focused on things that weren't important. You were constantly a busy fool chasing the tasks that you believed were of mass importance. And at no point did you go, where was the fucking fun? Where was the freedom? And what did I teach my kids? I taught my children that life is hard and miserable and without the fun stuff. And if you have the fun stuff, you're kind of guilty of the fun stuff because you should be working and you should be doing this and you should be doing this. And those shoulds, musts, and needs all come out real quick. And then your kids follow suit and do the same thing. When was dad never really enjoyed himself? Oh, what a hustler. Yeah, my dad was a grafter. And it's complementary in one sense because he's a provider, but it's also something that sets an example to your children that being a grafter is more important than teaching wellness, happiness, joy, fulfillment, satisfaction, rest. Now, the funny thing about the 4 pillars, and I feel like I may have gone off on a tangent here, but I do that, is that they're all integrated. The idea is not to seesaw them against each other. The idea is to build a schedule, a week, a day, an hour, a minute, whatever it may be, and to understand that you're integrating all of those pillars in a way that is your dream life. This is how I want to live. This is how I want my kids to see me live. This is how I want my wife to see me live. This is how I want to live. This gives me that knocking when time is up that says, Nathan, you did good, man. That's a good, that's a good story. You did what was right by you and right by the people, and that's very simple, a very, very simple existence where you move from surviving to thriving, from chaos to order, and you do it just by looking at what matters most and compartmentalizing it down into those things and understanding at any given moment and time of day, you set boundaries and disciplines around what it is that you're doing right then in that moment.
Yeah, man, that was great. I love it when Nate goes off on a tangent because I learn loads of stuff. I've been making loads of notes, loads of content ideas. So yeah, a couple of questions there, and what we'll do is I'll split it up into the pillars to make it a bit more digestible for the dads. So with a family pillar, being there physically is not the same as being present with them, is it? You can be at the park with them. And this is what we see when we see dads in play centres and at football matches and stuff. They are there physically, but they're a ghost because their brain is doom scrolling or it's emailing or it's doing something else. Being there in that moment and letting the other pillars cross over into that family moment, you might as well not be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we want guys to do is take actions away from this. So when you are next in a family pillar, that's usually mornings when you're getting ready for school and doing the breakfast. It's usually when you are at the play centre or at the football game or at the park or sat round the dinner table. Do not let thoughts of hobbies and fun that you want to do by yourself creep in. Do not let um, workout stuff or workout guilt even creep into that. If you've taken your little girl to an ice cream parlor, don't be eating that ice cream thinking I shouldn't be eating this because it's so many calories, it's this, that, the other. You're letting the fitness thing bleed in, right? And don't obviously clearly don't work. And fuck me, this should be one more pillar like which is wasting fucking time, like that needs to just have a big red X over it. Don't fucking doom scroll when you're at a play center. That is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen is someone being present for their kids physically and then fucking doom scrolling at nonsense. Like you do not remember a single thing that you've seen on that phone. But your daughter or your little boy who's looking at you through that fucking net is going to remember you prioritizing that device over them. And then I run past with my kids and they all fucking follow me. And it's awkward. I'm like, ah.
I have been there, man, and I do get that feeling of awkwardness real quick. I do get that because when there's other people's kids that start playing with you because you're playing with your kids, it gets you get this bit of tension because in the background we're thinking this modern world is just pushing on men a little bit, and we're on the back end of just accusations and things that aren't healthy. And then you got all these kids chasing you, want to play with you, and then it's interfering with your time with your kids. And because if you are busy, as much as you bring the presence and the family time, you may not have an abundance of that. And so, I agree with you. There's a duty of all fathers and all parents in those places. But the admission is when you look around, parents take the kids to that places. And again, there's no judgment with this. There's no judgment that's like you're a shit parent if you take them there and you do that thing. Maybe it's the only break that you do get where you can sit with a coffee and actually mindlessly do something in your phone. And so that may exist. And I've seen fathers there with laptops open. That may be the best version of what they can do, but we are speaking specifically to the avatar of the man that knows that he can do better and be better in those circumstances.
Yeah. I do agree with you there, mate. There's no judgment. And some of the pushback I will get is that people say, well, that's the only time I get, but I do genuinely think if they tried and understood these four pillars, I'm sure they could find 10, 15 minutes at the end of the day or the beginning of the day when the child isn't present looking at. Because what my point is that what we do and our actions are making impressions on that very impressionable young person. And yes, you do need to do them emails, but do they 100% need to be done right now when your child is staring at you and then potentially chasing someone else around the place? Right, let's move to fitness, mate. You're in a gym, you're working out, you're on a run, you're working out. Again, don't fucking doom scroll. Put it down. Yeah. Emailing, you're taking yourself away from the workout. You're also a fitness coach, Nate. So you're increasing your rest, which doesn't need to be too long unless you're doing some massive fucking 1 rep max workouts. And I think just having that device there is detrimental to workouts because the missus might ring and then the family pillar comes into your fitness and it's just a huge distraction. And then what you'll find is, because I am guilty of this, like there's no judgment, mate, because I am fucking client zero for this, or was when I first met you. It's a distraction, and the workout doesn't need to be that long. It just needs to be intent and intentional without the distraction. And taking your phone in is usually the biggest way that any other pillar bleeds into the fitness pillar.
Mm.
And we see it in gyms.
Yeah, well, that little handheld device, that little dopamine machine is the root of a lot of what we're talking about today, and it is built to steal presence and to take from the commodity of time. I would say when it comes to the fitness side of things and being in a space where you now know that you want to get yourself better in terms of your physicality and your shape and your physique, the gym isn't what dads typically think it needs to be. Training isn't what they think it needs to be. You know, inside what we do, we've moved into a model where it's 30 minutes 3 times a week and it's all built around nervous system. So we spend a lot of time building training around combating time and understanding that you don't have a lot of time, and that's one thing. But to train in a way that combats the nervous system, the stress, the pressure, the reactiveness, the struggles and the thoughts and the mindset and the shit that keeps you up at night, training with all that in mind. How can we best deal with the nervous system? Now, the moment you bring a phone into play with it, you kill that energy and that vibe straight off. Now, we obviously deliver our things through an app on a phone. So you set the phone up in a way that only can access and can be inside the app and that only, right? Because we want to be able to get data to create change and to be able to make progress and to do that sort of stuff. But some of the fellas can't do it that way because they still will get distracted on the phone. So what they do is they paper and pen it and then put it into the app afterwards and start to create systems that then work with them individually. Now, again, just going back into the structure and the compartmentalization about how you live your life to best get rid of all of the excess stuff that's in here and to make sure that you've orientated yourself towards the very life that you want to lead without the chaos. Gym time should be protected time. It should be a time of stillness. Yes, you're moving and you're slamming weights around and you're running, but that fundamentally is a man's stillness. Because when we talk about stillness, we talk about a form of meditation that calms him down, improves his focus, gives him clarity, allows him to breathe, think, and feel before the rest of life comes in and gets him. And so that time should be, if it's not already, heavily protected. Now, that's why I train from the garage at home with dumbbells. Because as a recognized fitness coach where we're from, and again, no judgment, people want to talk to you. They want to say hello. They want to do those things. And I've got nothing against that apart from this is getting in my way. And I've got 4 young children now. And this is the only window that I get to go really inward and to do the stuff that serves me from a health perspective in both mind and body. And so, again, if anybody wanted evidence that I really have employed these fitness pillars, like I work from home in a garage right here where I'm sat, my dumbbell rack is there, my training setup is there. So from a logistics perspective, everything is built with those in mind. It allows me to capitalize on time, allows me to capitalize on energy. There's no sitting in traffic, there's no following cars. Now everyone's got the luxury to do that. Particularly with a dumbbell rack, but you can certainly get your body out in the living room at home and train there. And I think it's important to recognise that note as well, is that a driven man needs to be built on systems and emotional regulation. And when it comes to your training, simplify it, structure it, standardise it, and repeat. And whatever resistance you've got facing, i.e., the gym's a 20-minute drive away, kill the resistance. What do you need to shift and change? And if your mind goes, but I can't train from home because I don't like it, then it's time to build a new version of your identity that can train from home because it's better for your life and it's better for the future and it's better for the man that you want to become.
I've just done this, mate. So on that, I've just done it. I used to go to a PT session that used to sometimes take me an hour to get there on the way on the school run and stuff in all the traffic. I'd drop the kids off and then I'd end up at that PT gym. There was a cost to that. It was like 350 quid a month. And the training was really, really, I think it was overly intense, if I'm going to be honest. So there's also like a stress issue with that. It was adding to my stress. So the time, the money, and the stress aspect of it, I re-looked at those and thought, is there another option that would reduce all three of those? And I found a CrossFit gym that's 7 minutes from my house. They have a class at 6. It's significantly less per month. I don't even have to think when I walk in there.
Yeah, yeah,
They just set me a class up. I just do it and I come home. And it's
yeah,
given me more money in the bank. It's given me more time in the mornings. So I'm not stressed, rushing. You know what it's like in the morning. It's chaos. And it's not chaos anymore. And CrossFit is difficult. Don't get me wrong, but I've not got someone stood there making me do it. I do it at my own pace. So all those three things are reduced. It's really, really good. So actions that a guy can take in a gym, if they go, I think, so you're not getting interrupted. Headphones is a great tool to use. That's what I use because I'm a tattooist and people know me. And if I've got my headphones, I'll just give someone the thumbs up and turn. My body language signals I don't want to talk. I'm here to train. Yeah. So does my face. And I'm quite a grumpy bastard in the gym. And then also, what was the other one? Oh, it was the app, wasn't it? Yeah. So if you cannot have your phone open without checking notifications, if you personally can't do that, then just write down on a piece of paper.
yeah,
What I used to do with your app was I used to just leave the app open so that it was always on. And
yeah,
if I'm training properly, mate, with no other distractions, it was do the workout, click the rest button, watch the timer,
yeah,
do the workout. There wasn't actually a gap for me to actually pick my phone up and scroll. I didn't want to close the app.
yeah.
Let's jump on to the finance pillar. When you're at work, this one is a really good example of communication with the missus that I found in my life. I have to say, I'm at work. I need to be left to work. So I've said to the missus, you ring me only in emergencies when I'm at work, and anything else gets ignored. And if it was important, it goes to voicemail because I am at work. I am doing deep work and it's important. And in my job, in any job is important, the results, but in mine, as an extreme case, if my attention goes elsewhere as a tattooist, I might fuck up a tattoo. So I do not need anything coming from the outside. So um, understanding that when you taught me about the pillars, I had that conversation with the missus. I had that conversation with other people. I don't answer my phone in the day. If you text me and I see that it can be dealt with later, I'll just deal with it later.
Yeah.
That's how I've helped with the finance one. What else have you kind of seen with your men in that?
Well, do you know what? I'm probably the greatest anecdote for how difficult this one has been for my existence. So the plus of the time and the logistics and being here and doing that things has meant that a lot of time crossover has occurred between me and the lady and me and the children. The children have run out of the house sometimes and come and found me in the garage and come in and done those things. And so that actually became the very thing system that I set up there became a resistance to the finance side of stuff. And so again, communication, particularly with the other half, and understanding the value, and also making sure that she understands that she gets a better version from you. And I'm going to give my own anecdote, my own perspective from this, because when you're at work, we're saying that you should be at work and you should be doing those things, and that's what you want to focus on and everything else. Now, your other half won't typically get to see that and won't understand what your day looks like at work. And so there needs to be an art of communication in place there. But if you're there and when you arrive home, there's an irritability and a lack of presence and a mood, and you wonder why she keeps calling you in the day when you're a better man because you're at work and you're away from home, which is common with a lot of dudes, you can you can put that onto her in a way that what I'm truly saying here is that she's contacting you likely at work because she probably feels that she gets a better version of you. Typically, when you're out there in this space between you, whereas when you come home, the kids are running riot and everything's kicking off, and you've had a stressful day, and you've brought that home and brought that back in. So it's a real art of communication piece between work and family life. And I think most men are most disciplined when it comes to being able to work and being able to structure that versus being present at home and with family. That being said, what men, most fat dads that I've worked with have really struggled to employ is real productivity and focus at work with the tasks that actually matter. with the stuff that moves the needle towards the finances they want to build, the career that they want to have, the experience of work that they want to have, versus once again falling into a busy noise trap of procrastination and picking up the dopamine machine. Now, this depends whether you're running your own business or you're in the corporate world and you work for somebody else. But either way, my advice to most men in this arena is that make sure when you're at work you're doing things that move the needle in terms of finances towards the very life that you and your family deserve. And if you're not doing that, and your missus keeps calling you and keep picking you up, but you're not the man that she needs when you come home because you're aware there's that deep loathing anxiety that knows that you are procrastinating at work and that's getting you irritable and the things aren't moving in the right direction and you're cross pollinating between family and work life, that's the shift. I find most men can work hard when it comes to work. What I don't see their ability to do is to work smart and to put the focus into the right areas to build that facet of the world to whatever they want it to become. And so, presence for me when it comes to finances and building finance is not just about being at work. Most men can be at work. They may answer the phone to the missus. Yes, I get that. She may call. Yes, I get that. But as a man, it's your steadiness and your focus and your understanding of what it is that you are building in work that is the presence. What are you working towards? How do you orient yourself towards that? And what tasks are actually of importance? Because then your missus will stop calling you at work all the time because she won't need to, as such, because she'll know the boundaries, she'll know the expectations, she'll know what you're doing, she'll believe in your cause, and you'll come home a better, happier, less anxious, less stressed out man. And that's just my experience. My
That's,
lady needs me less when I'm at work
that's
because
exactly
I,
that's exactly what we need, mate. That's what I'm pushing is for presence at home. And
yeah,
that's exactly what we need.
yeah. And that's just from listening to my lady. Like she calls me less because she gets a better me at home. And she was getting a better me when I was out of the house before. So she wants to connect with that man, but she can't do it when I'm at home because I didn't used to be this version of myself. And so it's a weird twist.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome, mate. So finally, there's something I'd like to say on the freedom pillar. I think it takes courage to communicate with the other half and your kids that you want to go and do something for yourself, not that you need to. I think in the past, maybe I've jumped to say the word, look, I need to go and do this bike ride with my brother because he's asked me and I need to do and do it, instead of the courage to go, I want to go on this bike ride. Now, if all the other three pillars are in place and the provisions in place and the presence in place, when it comes to us telling her we want to go and do something for us, it's a no-brainer. She just says yes. That's what I found. But I found whenever there was friction, it's because she wasn't getting and the kids weren't getting what they needed in all the four pillars. So the I do think it's very important, like you, to do things that you find joy in. I learned this recently. It's like when I do this now, I make time for things that bring me joy. And then I communicate that courageously to my family that I want to go and do this thing because it gives me joy. And then when I come back, I'm going to be a better version of me. And watch, you'll see. And then because I've communicated it and I do come home a better person, they do, provided I'm not injured off some stupid fucking motorbike thing I've done, which usually happens. Um, I am a better person and they see that. So I'm big on the freedom pillar, mate. Big on it.
Well, it ripples into every other area of life, but you're right. She needs evidence that this is contributing to her and the kids. Because if she's taking the hit on taking care of the other stuff while you go off and enjoy yourself, you should be guilt free. The reason you're not guilt free is because you know you're not pulling your weight in other areas. When you're doing the right things by your family, by your work, by your fitness, your health in the other areas, the joy comes and the freedom comes easily because you know that you've done the work that you need to be doing, whatever that is specifically to you. And she feels that too. Women are very intuitive and emotional. She'll feel that too. And so you can go out, do that, and it ripples backward in life. You, as a man, have to provide the evidence that this is worth it to her because if you're doing those things and you're not bringing home the version of man that she needs and that your kids need, she's not going to be happy with you going out and doing your own thing. What's the benefit? What does she get?
I've experienced that, mate. I experienced almost jealousy, resentfulness, and I had to do deep thinking on it. And I realized it's because I wasn't actually showing up other areas, and all the promises I'd made, I'd not shown receipts for that. So yeah, it's about actually providing receipts for the things that you say you're gonna do, and the man that you said you're gonna be, so that you can enjoy some freedom. Nate, we're almost out of time, mate. So I think there's gonna be a part 2 of this, but that was a really, really impactful thing, and I hope the men made some notes and they take away. I'll link all your stuff in the description, mate, where anyone can find you. And appreciate your time, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, good to connect, brother. See you on the other side.
Bye.